Let's do it.
Let's do it. Look, if everybody can tell, we upgraded Jason's tonight, so we got. Well, I don't even know what the right title is for you, right?
I don't have one.
ESPN broadcaster. Everybody knows Jason Baker. He's here with us. We'll probably have a couple other guests join us tonight too. But Bump is out traveling for work, and so I had a lot of people hitting us up, so we wanted to go live after the game. And man, Jason, tell us what you're thinking. How you feeling?
Feeling really good, man. My guys are in the semifinals on Saturday. Going to have to beat the Eags twice in a day if you're going to make it to the championship. And I know this third starter has kind of been, a Johnny Holstaff approach, but you know what? There's a lot of arms left in that pin that are pretty fresh. And if you look at it, what Christian Ostrander's been able to do and his ball club's been able to do is rest some guys that, frankly, I would have thought would have been, first out of the pin. And so, yeah, I think the Eags are looking awfully good in Montgomery right now. Not to put the cart before the horse. There's a game certainly still to go win to get yourself into that championship.
Yep.
But yeah, man, excited, Pivo. It's just the best time of year, isn't it?
It is, man. Again, like that game just kind of felt like a little bit of like our season. You feel really good in moments. You feel really down in moments. It was kind of a roller coaster. But again, the guys that we talked about, we were live last night. We recorded. We talked about Ock. We talked about Russo. And man, those guys just stepped up.
27 outs, man. 27 outs. Baseball's 27 outs. It's not 25. It's not 26. It's not 13 or 14 or 15. And I get it as fans, and certainly I was in that rush of emotion tonight of, were we going to be able to do it? But the reminder is there's still, outs to be made. That's the beauty of baseball. Pardon the pun, but there's really no clock, right? I mean, I know we have a pitch clock, but
yeah,
there's no timer that says we're going to stop this thing at a certain point in time and call Troy the winner. And that's the beauty of baseball. Like, to me, it's not over until it's over, and you got to find a way to get the Meads out 27 times. And what I think they're beginning to show is a little bit of moxie late in games. There's not a lot of panic. I heard Ty Harrington say they're in the top of the ninth, or what, I guess, in the top of the ninth or bottom of the eighth, whichever it was. But Ozzie Pratt kind of bobbles that ball. There was no panic. He gobbles it up, gets it over and across, and
Big
you know
time.
what? It's over and done with. I think it was in the top of the ninth. And so, that's to me, that's the beauty of baseball. Like, you get a team that kind of matures and finds their way to playing their best baseball of the season. And man, if you ask me, I think that's exactly what's happened to the Golden Eagles.
No doubt. No doubt. And look, if everybody's hopefully starting to get the swing of these lives. So if you want to comment on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, you can do that. We'll throw it up. We got to throw up Ted's Russo. Couldn't agree more. And if you want to get on, if you want to speak, waiting to hear from Mason, I know he'll probably chime in. Go ahead and request to join us. We'll throw you up on the live if you want to speak as well. And we'll go from there. I know the Eagles are sitting at 39-18. That was win number 39. I know everybody, at least for me, like, I want to get to that 40 number just to continue the 30 game win streak, or 30 wins in a season, 40 wins in a season. I want to keep that rolling.
Yeah, don't think those guys aren't aware of that either in that dugout. That's a point of emphasis, man. I used to hear Corky Palmer say it all the time. If you get to 40, they can't keep you out of the regional. And, I think he believed in that. And that became a magic number for Golden Eagle baseball. And, of course, being, Scott Berry's number, it gives you chills every time you think about that. There's sort of a magic number, and we're the only team in the country with a streak of 40 wins. And, man, it'd be really cool to get that 40th win on Saturday and see what's fixing to happen.
No doubt. Let's see. I'm trying to check and see if we got any other comments or any requests here. I'm multitasking tonight.
No worries.
Let's see.
Let's talk about Russo, Pilo. What about Matthew Russo in the year he's having? Ted just typed that into this
Yeah, we'll throw it back up
podcast
there.
chat, whatever this is, right? Like, I mean, what a story. I shared a cool story in my last broadcast Saturday. I've really held that story. It happened much earlier in the year, but I hope with all intent that I came across that it wasn't confrontational. It was a coach to a player kind of moment. And you know what, Matthew
Welcome,
Russo,
Phil.
good on him, as my man Phil joins.
Yeah,
Russo kind of
dude.
answered that challenge. He answered that challenge, and
Yeah,
um, and credit for Oz, right? Like, I mean, that was at a point in time when maybe Russo was coming out of that lineup, and Gillespie was beginning to start games at first base, and they weren't quite sure how they were going to handle it. Russo was really becoming, a late defensive sub, but you know what? Matthew Russo showed up every day to the park and worked and didn't complain and just did his job. I'm telling you, that was one of his better BP sessions. I saw him hit, maybe still to this point. I mean, he hit, I don't know, probably took 12 to 14 swings, hit 8 bombs in a BP session, and then Oz challenges him like, hey, that's the guy I need you to be.
yeah.
And Russo hit the top step, and he said, I am that guy. I said, you're going to have to prove it. And he said, I will. You just got to give me that opportunity. And he's gotten it, and man, he hasn't looked back. And, just a phenomenal human. I know y'all know him well, and just a smile on his face every day he comes to the park, and loving life right now, man. He's beating that ball all over the park. They can't figure out where the gap is in the zone to try to get him out. He talks about hitting the ball the other way, and that's what makes him special. I find he has more power opposite field, at least at the peak. That's what he's done when I've watched him, and certainly when I've watched him on the road. It seems like he just has a lot of power to the opposite field gap. But you know what? Tonight he rips that double, to the pull side a little bit, and he certainly has that capability. He just kind of, told me, hey, it's really just more my swing path allows me to beat the balls to the backside. And man, he's become an integral piece, and really like it's up because it's allowed Gillespie to go to left. I think that's where Davis Gillespie's going to stay. I think that's where, hopefully if he'll continue to develop, somebody's going to pay him to play baseball one day, and he'll probably be out in the field. So it's kind of put everything in rhythm once Matthew Russo really got going.
Yeah, and I've had the unique opportunity to really spend a lot of time out in the roost and speaking with and getting to know his dad Jeff really well. And man, the broadcast had him in the background going nuts, and Matthew hits that double and turns immediately. Like, Matthew always knows where his dad is in the park at every at bat, at every moment. He knows where he is. And to have that moment and the camera capture that was just, I was losing my mind at the house. So I got a couple of comments in. Baker, you're gonna like this one. Good friend, the show, Matt Rockwell, no doubt. Hope Dale knows how to party, and I better be invited to that because I've only been down there once, but man, it was a good time.
Well, and we shouted out Hopedale on the last Homer call. I guess that was I don't know when those games run together. I don't know when it was, but Russo hit a home run, and I said from Hattiesburg to Hopedale, and the irony in that is Russo before the game or before that series maybe told me there was this massive following in Hopedale, Louisiana of Golden Eagle baseball. He's got an uncle, and I think his grandfather spent just an inordinate amount of time in Hopedale, Louisiana, which is a place that's special to me. And I told him I'm going to fit that into a broadcast, and he just kind of laughed it off and jogged. And Cliff had kind of been waiting on me to try to find a way to fit it into our broadcast. And I told him I was just going to say, from welcome back from Hopedale to Hattiesburg. And but instead I kind of saved it, and I just felt like Russo was going to give us maybe a homer in the peak before the year was over, and he did. And we just kind of said it that way. So that's kind of where the Hopedale thing is come from, is that there's just a pile of Golden Eagle fans now down on the bayou that are watching Golden Eagle baseball and pulling for Matthew Russo.
So cool. Well, Phil, I'm gonna let you have a chance to speak here. I know we got you.
I'm
glad you're here.
Glad to be on here with the goat.
There we go.
Over there, just spitting the knowledge, baby.
We did have a request to join, as I did say. So let me get that in. Hopefully, no technical difficulties tonight. Mason, you should be good to go. Maybe. Maybe. No, Mason. Let me try again. Okay. Doesn't like a good live show here. I don't know what the issue is. Keep going. Let's see. Then like this good dead air. This is great.
No
I'm
doubt.
loving this.
Me and Phil just
Yeah,
over here
I'm-
chilling, man.
Yeah, y'all are.
1 win away from 40, baby.
Oh, it says he can hear him. Why can't I hear him?
Obviously, we now know that Bump is the sound engineer.
No, he's definitely not. He's definitely not.
No pressure, Philo.
Yeah, no. I thought I had everything together tonight. Man, Matt Mason, I am sorry. Let's see. I'm gonna try to remove you and get you back in here. All right, go ahead, Mason. No? All right. Well, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm gonna keep working on it, but we'll get to a couple other shout outs. Big shout out to Baker and his crew. Don't realize how spoiled we are until they aren't in the booth.
I appreciate that from these burner accounts, man. These guys are lit, man. I got to tell you, I enjoy quite a few of them quite often, and I try not to engage in them too terribly much. But man, they do get me from time to time with some comments and shout outs, and yeah, man. I look, man, that I every comment that comes in like that means the world to me, and I'm literally living a dream and getting to do it with some great dudes and Chris Kirkland and Cliff Russum and Marty Wyndham, our statistician. Like, man, it's just cool stuff. Cliff and I were close in college. We're the same age. Kirkland and I knew each other. I wouldn't say we were close, but we certainly knew each other. And now getting full circle to be able to bring them on. And yeah, man, I just so grateful that people enjoy our product at Southern Miss, and really grateful for Jeremy McLean investing in it. And we got more on the way, man. We got some special tricks coming to the Rock this fall as well for ESPN Plus. So get ready. It's growing. Awesome. It's not stopping. So we're really looking forward to it.
This is back to, and I'm still working on it. Give me, y'all hang in there with me. I'm hearing that other people can hear Mason, but it's not going to help us if I can't hear him. So we're working on it.
We let Phil just come up with what he thinks Mason's saying.
Yeah.
Do what?
I have no idea.
So we just let you come up with what you think Mason's saying.
He's probably spitting some stats yesterday.
Yeah, he probably has some good stuff. I hate that it's not working.
While we're waiting on him, Bake, what you think, like calling games, these guys calling games from New Orleans instead of actually there? Is that difficult, you think, or are they just watching monitor? Or?
Yeah, I know one broadcaster on this podcast that, man, I've done it once. I've done one broadcast remotely. I just, man, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
It's a choice by the Sun Belt, and I'm sure it's got to do with technology and logistics, and I'm sure money's a part of it as well. I'm sure. It's just not
as much. They can only see what's on the monitor. I mean, do they see what we see, or they have more monitors? They're seeing a little extra.
They have more monitors. So what happens? How we did it? So me and Austin Davis called the Georgia State home football game. So people may not know this, but our studio, the control room, and I hope I'm not letting out a secret. It shouldn't be a secret. It's the studio that is producing all of our television broadcasts is actually inside Reed Green Coliseum.
Yeah.
And so that's actually where Lee Field and a sound engineer and a director and our graphics and replay. We have multiple replay machines at Southern Miss now. So we have 2 replay guys at all times. And they sit over there. Well, it's in the old volleyball locker room, actually. And so there's a studio there. And during the Georgia State home football game 2 years ago, if you remember, it was pouring down rain. And instead of jeopardizing all of the broadcasting equipment that I have, so I'm in an open booth at the Rock, literally just basically underneath the overhang, right? And instead of jeopardizing all of that equipment, Lee Field came to me and asked on Friday night what I consider calling it remotely. So we did, and we had 4 monitors. I have a program feed. I had another monitor that had every single camera on one screen within the Rock. So I had, I think it was 5 shots is how many we do, maybe 6. And then I had like a replay feed. So, people that know me know I'm a little high strung, and man, for somebody like me, I look like a squirrel trying to cross the road, man. I was trying to look at different monitors and trying to figure it out. And it just, I call a lot off the monitor, a lot. Matter of fact, I'm about 90% off of what you're seeing, I'm seeing. But on that day, it was pretty crazy to be able to see all these shots. And so now at Pete Taylor Park, I have 2 monitors. Cliff has a monitor, I have a monitor, but Cliff's monitor is what's called an off feed. And at any point in time, they can show me something before anybody else ever sees it. So they can roll me a replay and say, hey, do you want to see this? Or they can roll this replay and tell me beforehand, hey, they're going to overturn it. Here's why. And they'll show me why. And then I'm kind of ad-libbing until the umpire comes out and makes this call. And essentially, I kind of know that they're going to make some calls beforehand. So, I'm sure the Sun Belt has logistics. Me personally, it's just not for me. I want to be there in the environment, in the presence of it all. I do peek over my monitor quite a bit, typically on long balls, typically long fly balls. I call with my eye, not off the monitor. So I tend to kind of peek right over my monitor out of my booth to be able to try to pick it up. And there's a sight line at Pete Taylor Park for me that I pretty much can try to tell, like when a ball looks like it's leaving the yard based on the height and the angle that it's leaving out of there. So that's kind of how it all works. And not really for me, but it's, that's the Sun Belt Conference's call. For the record, they call all of them that I'm aware of remotely. The basketball's called remotely as well.
Okay. Yeah, you can tell sometimes when they're making calls, like not being there, they're kind of like, eh.
Yeah. There's a delay there because you're really dependent upon the cameras and the camera angles, and I would say they probably are staying behind the play on the call a lot more than maybe somebody like me or Cliff would be, just present trying to call that game. So there's sort of a science to it that they're trying to navigate. They're doing a good job. I think that was JT Crabtree on the call tonight. I think he was the play-by-play guy tonight with Ty Harrington. So, thanks. Yeah, I do love some burners. Y'all, you guys, man, some of the Southern Miss content on the Twitter, man, you guys are incredible.
Heath Hinton over on YouTube said props to Lee Field and JB and the guys. USM has the best ESPN Plus broadcast in the Sun Belt. I've seen every school now. It's not even close. Never missed a play or a ball. I agree.
I appreciate he knows that. He chimes in with me. He texts me quite a bit during broadcast. We didn't have to turn this into the Let's Quiz Baker thing. I was on here as a fan with a mixed drink, enjoying the win with the Golden Eagles tonight. But I do. Well, Heath knows I appreciate it. And look, y'all. I've literally had moments, true moments of driving home. I live quite a bit away from Hattiesburg, and driving home in my truck and being teary-eyed over the belief that I get to call these games. So it's been some cool moments on the way home, just by myself in my truck, kind of recapping it all, just kind of pinching myself like I can't actually believe somebody pays me to sit there and talk about all this.
I think we do. Let's see if I can get this to work. Steven, come on, tell me this is working.
Hey, can you hear me, man?
Yeah, we got you.
There we go. Big win tonight. Was obviously the negativity I was given in the Discord seemed to work out. I think it was a mix of. I think it was the negativity and the mix of the martini. You know me, I like a dirty martini. So
there we go.
Big win. I think the negativity took the AC out of my house here in New Orleans, but I'll take that and deal with that as it comes tomorrow.
Oh gosh.
I think having with our pitching situation, I think having tomorrow off is huge. I mean, obviously, I think we go into Saturday, probably throw Boswell, Jason. I don't know what you think. I see Luke's in here, Woodshed King, Jeff. I mean, what do you think the outlook? I mean, I think winning today was huge because we get the day off tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And on Saturday, if we win one, you just go straight to the championship game, right?
Correct.
Yes.
We have to lose twice on Saturday. In order
to lose. Okay.
We have to be beaten
Okay.
twice, obviously. So yeah, just win one and in, right, Baker?
That is correct, boys. We'll be playing for a championship with one game on Saturday, right? I mean, I think Steven makes a great point. You get this day off, it rests those arms, and look, man, make no mistake about it. The Wizard of Oz is working magic with this staff right now. You look up and I think what have we used? 5 pitchers in 2 games now. So 2 yesterday, 3 today. Not named Cross Sibley either out of the pen. Colby Allen didn't throw today. He's going to be coming in on 2 days rest if they need him tomorrow to slam the door to get to the championship. So, Steven makes a great point. It's probably the thing that excites me the most for the weekend is the rest of the staff's fixing to get.
Yeah.
Looking at
I'll be.
Go ahead, Steven.
No, sorry. I was a bit worried. I thought he left Mazda in just a little bit too long, but hey, he's the Wizard of Oz. He knew what he was doing, apparently. I mean, obviously, I think my nails are into the quick, but I thought he left Mazda in just a little bit too long. Just my opinion. Obviously, I'm not a pitching coach. I don't know baseball. I feel like Trey's going to pop in here and yell at me in any minute.
I got that.
I did want to give a shout out to Chandler. I mean, he comes in, and throws 2 really, 2 2/3 innings and really kind of got us moving to get to JB, to get to Ox. So, it was a solid.
Pitch count wise, you're looking. Allen only threw 24, JB and Best both threw 46, and Ox only pitched 14. So,
yep.
I'd assume all of them are still available except for the 2 starters.
I would think Ock and JB will probably they would probably be available but not preferred. And then I think what you're going to probably cycle back to is I would think Colby will be available Saturday. I would think Chandler, JB, Ock would be the preference to have on Sunday.
Yeah,
and I would think that kind of is how Oz would play it. He has tried Colby on back-to-back days. Colby has done the job, but he's not been as clean on that second of back-to-back days. So I would look for Oz to maybe try to skip the guys who threw today, allow them a 2-day rest, allow Colby to maybe slam that door on Saturday. And there's some other arms. Sibley's not, hasn't pitched at all. So
Flowers.
There's some guys there that can, Flowers, Landon Payne's available, right? So there's certainly some arms there.
Who would you probably start on Sunday if we win game 1? I know it depends on what we do Saturday, but if we win, who do you start on Sunday?
I think it's going to be Billy Odom. Yeah, I think you're going to run
Billy
I think you'll give Billy the opportunity to tell him that he doesn't want it. I guess. I mean, you're trying to win a championship. I have a little small tingling within me that believes maybe we can back our way into a host. I don't know. I don't follow RPI like some of you guys do. I pay attention to it about right now. So I don't know what the rest of the country looks like with quad 1 wins and all of that jazz. I kind of leave that to the rest of you guys, but
we're up to 29.
We're what now? 29?
29. We were 26 before we lost to Texas State, and then now we're creeping back up.
So we do have. I want to make sure we do still have Stephen Leggett on. We do have Luke Johnson on as well. So feel free to jump in.
Hey guys, yeah, I still think we're a solid 2 simply because I think it's going to be really hard for us to avoid Starkville in a regional just because they're going to host now. They may even go up to 15. If y'all follow Patrick McGee, I mean he's got projections laid out pretty well. What's wild right now is all these auto bids are about to get taken up. A bunch of auto bids are going to steal some of these things. We were looking at Sunbelt teams, maybe 5 of them, but Louisiana going out, we may only get 3 teams in now. So I didn't mean to shift the subject.
No, not at all. Go ahead.
But I think that's something that would be really interesting to hear from you guys. I will say one comment. I think we go Boswell tomorrow. I mean, Nico threw what, 70-something, 73 pitches today. Is there a case where you get a couple of innings out of him on Sunday?
I think Oz is of the belief like he'll go to any of them, Luke. I think he'll ask them, right? I mean, and those guys are honest. They have some metrics that they do post game that grades their stress on their body and their arms that the athletic trainer Sven Pearson does, and he'll measure that post game, report to Oz, and then it's a measurement every day when they go and they'll do a rehab lift tomorrow, and he measures them again then, and it's got to do with muscle flexion, and I don't know. Sven went into like a bunch of science with me and Cliff the other day, and we just kind of stood there like kids looking at Chinese arithmetic. But it's some metric, and basically they can report to them to say, yeah, hey, ready. So and Oz puts a lot of trust in Sven, and kind of make sure that those guys are being honest with him. That's what Oz tells me he asks of his guys. Like, hey, if you can't, tell me. If you can, tell me. And kind of see.
Yeah,
and I would like to know. I would like to follow this. Luke follows this more than me. Luke, I'd love to know that. Why do y'all think Starkville? Is it because y'all think geographically, or do you think like our seeding and their seeding is going to put us in Starkville?
I mean, we're going to be a 2. So we're going to be a 2 for an SEC school or Florida State. I mean, what keeps popping up is Athens or Tallahassee. With Coastal probably being either the last 5 in or the first 5 out. I mean, I think Athens could be a real possibility for us to be a 2. But we've seen before, with the history of us going to Oxford. I mean, with Ole Miss out, yeah, I think our RPI isn't high enough to even think about a possible, backdoor host. If we don't win the regular season, yeah, maybe possibly. But I mean, you're looking at if we could be at 41 wins going in. Knowing the committee and knowing what they've done historically, I could just see us. It's an easy peg for the NCAA to send us to Starkville. I don't know what to think about it. I don't want to face Charlie Condon. I'll tell you that much.
I agree with that, Luke. I agree. I don't want to go to Starkville, but I think that's a good regional. If we have to be a 2, I think I'd rather go to Starkville than to Tallahassee.
I will say, I think Patrick made this point, McGee. You do have La Tech and Lafayette that may be 2 seeds that are right there in the same region as us. I mean, they could get sent to like Arkansas or something, but that's 2 other teams in Louisiana right there next to us. They could slide in at state and send it. Or if Troy's like a 3 seed and they throw them in there, the 3 or something, I don't know, then we couldn't go the same place if like Troy slips in. So there's other things to think about, other teams.
But I think they're projecting Oklahoma State to host, so that would be easy to send, La Tech or something up there.
A&M's going to host as well, so one of them will end up there.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. The thing about Tallahassee, you're going to go in there and get thrown on a SEC 3 seed, probably Florida, LSU, or somebody like that, probably.
I could see that would be wild if we went to Tallahassee and had LSU as the 3 seed.
I'm just saying. I mean, you think about it's not the same, not the same caliber. We went to Oxford, we got freaking Florida State, who probably should have been a 2 seed, and they were a 3 seed, and that was loaded. So I wouldn't. Whatever we get, we'll probably get screwed, probably. So
I want us to go wherever the team that's playing the worst right now. That's where I'll go. I don't care. Like, just send us whoever's playing the worst. I mean, that's to me.
So Indiana State.
Yeah, let's do it. Hey,
they may not even host now. If they don't win the tournament, they said they may not host.
Just put us where we can win out of it. And that's I think that's the mindset, right? And I mean, for us, we're playing our best. I mean, legitimately playing our best. And so, I think I just saw a tweet from somebody that said wherever the Golden Eagles end up as a 2, that person's going to bow their head on Monday afternoon and just think, my goodness, like, because I mean, let's face it, fellas, right? You got a 2-headed monster on that top of that rotation in Oldham and Mazza. And I know Mazza didn't have his best, but that's okay. That's part of the game, right? Like, but those 2 guys, Billy Oldham has been elite. I'd love to know how many pitchers have been better in the Southeast than him in the last 30-something days. And so, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, if it's in Starkville, then so be it. But my pull is just send them Eags wherever that team's playing the worst is what I hope. Because I do think we're going to be a top tier 2 seed all across the country. I mean, we're going to be right there at the top of the seeding from the 2 seeds. If you were going to just, numerically put them in order of strength, we're going to be at the top of it without a doubt.
Which was kind of odd in the projections. Most of the projections, but see, that's why we would end up in Starkville, because State's going to be the 15th or 16th seed.
Right. Yeah, that's what I asked.
Frustrating.
But how much do they really? They don't really
9,
seed 2As, do they? I thought
they
did more
don't
regional.
seed 2s, but they're not going to send a top 29, 28 RPI team to the number 1 or number 2
That's
seed.
correct.
They
don't
sent us to Arkansas in 18 when we were pretty good.
Well, they want to keep it less than 400 miles, because if it's over 400 miles, they have to pay for flights or something like that. I mean, Luke, Jason, someone can probably
they
clear that
generally
up.
try to follow that rule, but like they've sent LSU to Corvallis and other places in the past just because LSU takes over everything. We understand that. We got people jumping fences on the Longleaf Trace, but it's yeah.
There is one factor that nobody's mentioned, and that's this, boys. It's the cash. Like, it's wherever they can make the most money. And I mean, I think that's, to me, like, I agree with Luke. I think if we end up in Starkville, it'll be because of 2 factors. The first factor being they're going to be a low 1 seed. And I say that with all respect to them. Like, I'm not trying to piss them off, but they're going to be a 14, a 15, a 16 seed of the 1 seeds if you categorically put them out there. And we're going to be one of the top 2 seeds, and they're going to put us there. But the second factor of that is, boys, there's a lot of money to be made next weekend in Starkville if it's Southern Miss and Mississippi State, and I guess we saw that in 19, right? So at our place. And so we know what that looks like.
Yeah, let me get us caught
At
up.
the flip side, they're going to sell out the dude anyway, so they could send us somewhere else. Hey, did y'all talk? I'm sorry to be shifting around. Have you already talked about Pato and the Pato injury? What it looks like going forward? Has anybody talked about that?
We have not.
I mean, I thought it was pretty brilliant the way they did the lineup today. I thought that was really good. I noticed he didn't have the wrap on his hand today. If we keep winning, you hate for his bat, but you'd hate for him to aggravate it and him be out for the regional too.
I think it was stated now publicly, so I think he got a shot in it, and they're letting it work. So probably rest is the best thing right now, anyway. So I think so.
Jason, were you cool with that lineup today? I thought that was really good.
I thought it was a great wrinkle. I thought, it wasn't something that I had. I had our lineup on Wednesday being what it was after I found out on Saturday that Carson came out with an injury. I didn't find that out on the air, by the way. I know we kind of referenced that he was giving Brady Fowson at bat, but I found out post-game that it was an injury that pulled Carson out. And I had our exact lineup for the Wednesday game. So, yeah, Luke, it's Nick Monastir. How valuable is he? Like, I mean, this kid's just plug and play. Heck, man, I kind of thought for a second he was fixing to rob that home run that Troy hit out there in right center field for a second. Like, I really did. He had a beat on it and showed off his jumps as well. And so, yeah, I mean, it is a cool lineup. I would tell you, I don't know when Carson will return. I've not been told that, but my guess is if they can keep playing at this level, I'm not real sure you're going to see Carson Pato back in this lineup right now while we're playing for this championship in the Sun Belt. At this point, there's bigger fish on the horizon. We all know what that is coming up next week. So I just think it's, they're letting him partake to just stay active and stay loose, but it's got to do with hitting, and it's got to do with the pain tolerance when hitting.
Yep. I do want to get us caught up a little bit on comments. Jacob has said, call me. Well, you can call us. You can hop on the Twitter space if you want to give us your explanation. That's why we're here tonight. Request to go live. I'll throw you on here and you can give your spill. Let's see. Heath said Auburn was a great place to land as a 2 last season. MSU would be a good spot with them as a 13-15 seed. USM will be a high 2 seed. They need to rank all the teams 1 to 64 and go from there. Excellent.
He's trying to put Jeremy to work next year on that committee, ranking them 1 through 64. Man, that's some work.
Let's see. Destiny said going to Starville, I'm afraid, and you can buy your earplugs now with Amazon Prime. Smart move.
By the way, speaking of, did you see Destiny's tweet, by the way?
Her tweet was my favorite tweet of the night, if you're talking about the kidney one.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
She said yes, for free. She donated for free.
That was great.
Oh, yeah, and she did say this earlier, too, that I didn't throw up there. Which I love. I love Matt Russo. So, any Matt Russo love we get, I'm 100% behind.
My dad has been a Southern Miss fan for over 70 years. He's a season ticket holder in multiple sports. Coming into this year, he said, man, I feel so sorry for that Matt Russo guy, man. He just looks like a baseball player. He got stuck behind Christopher Sargent, and I just don't think he's going to do much. And, like a month ago, he's like, dude, Russo's my favorite player, like, ever. Like, I love Russo. Like, every time Russo does something, he just texts me. He was going crazy tonight.
Yes.
Great.
It's a great moment. Oh, yeah. Destiny's still here. She said she only needs 1 kidney, so she's willing to take that fall.
That is also true.
Hey, was that really his dad in that picture?
Yes, 1,000%.
Behind the right field ball?
1,000%. I can verify that. Jeff wears that long sleeve white shirt that's got USM on the chest. And I have been right beside him as he celebrated Matt's home runs in the Roost several times this season. And it is a special moment.
He turned around and saluted him or something.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said earlier, I don't know if you were on earlier, but like there's not a moment when Matthew's on the field that he does not know where his dad is, which I think is really cool. And Jeff is in the zone the whole game, and he loves his kid and he loves baseball.
How cool is it to see the nervousness amongst their parents and sweating through moments and then seeing their children have the success that they have. And I'm infatuated with that at times. I've seen multiple parents across multiple sports at Southern Miss that have their own little quirks as far as where they stand, where they sit, where they go. I've watched Frank Mazza quite a bit through this season. He's right out of my booth view, and he has some quirks, man. Nico's rolling well. That man's not leaving that seat for nothing. And it's kind of cool to watch those parents, man, and sweat through some really stressful moments, and really cool when they get an opportunity to celebrate with them. I think that's the beauty of sports.
You realize we've got a legend on here right now.
We do.
Speaking of that,
we do. Go ahead, Momo.
Hey, just want to confirm, you guys, that 120% is Jeff Russo on the picture.
See,
I was watching the game.
Yep.
And I paused the game after the double. I rewinded and took the picture twice.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it was him because I know where he sits. I know he's crazy and nervous like every one of us are when our kids are hitting. So, oh man, that's such a huge moment for them. I just loved it. Yeah. And Matt, I don't know if you saw it, but Matt turned around and celebrated with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
On the video. It was crazy.
It was so great.
So yeah, it was such a huge moment.
Momo, what does that feel like? Like, the LSU regional when Gabe won it, against Arizona State. I mean, what does that feel like for you?
You just want to die. You just want to die. Like during the at bat, you wanna have aliens come down and just get you and disappear from there. But then when it happens, when something like that happens, Jesus, man, it's the best feeling in the whole wide world. It's incredible. I just love that Jeff's able to to feel that, and some of the others, the parents too. I mean, Monastery's parents yesterday was another huge one.
Oh yeah,
man, it's been, man, this team's getting hot in the right moment.
Momo, what was your
incredible.
all-time moment? What was your all-time moment? Like, what do you think about the most back over the course of your boys' careers?
Man, there's a few of them, but tell you the truth, I think the first time I saw them both during the national anthem, right there at the Pete, Rodrigo catching and Gabe in center field that 2022 season. I think it was maybe the third game of the season that they were together in the lineup for the first time. That was a special moment for me.
no doubt.
Yep. Oh yeah. I can say maybe Gabe's hit against LSU, that one on the regional, the one that we won. That was kind of his last few moments as a Golden Eagle, but I guess watching them both play for that first time together on a Division I game has to be the favorite one.
Gabe's interview after the hit against Arizona State, where he just said, "I want a banana and take a nap," was legendary and hilarious. Remember that? They interviewed him after he got the hit. What do you want to do after this win? Because we had to play again. He's like, "I want a banana and go take a nap." And then I guess he took a power nap. He played LSU that night.
Yeah. They had another game that night.
It was funny.
Yeah, he and the banana apparently worked because he homered that second game against LSU, that game at night.
I was there. It was fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Let's see.
So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Momo. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you too, bro.
Jacob, I'm trying to get you added in here. Go ahead. Maybe. Let's see. I think you're.
There I am.
There we go. Awesome.
There I am.
Welcome in.
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Great.
Yeah, so no, just going off your what you're talking about of us having a chance to host.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at stuff, you look at the Sun Belt's top 5 conference in baseball, teetering on top 4 with the Big Ten ahead of the Pac-12. I just feel like the committee will look at that, and there's no really Louisiana Tech, ULL and us were really the last 2 teams that had a chance to even anywhere close to be a host. I feel it would be really hard to not give a top 4 or 5 conference a host spot. So I think if we're anywhere close in the RPI, 25-ish, we're 29 right now, creep 22, 23, 24, whatever, that they could consider us and say, hey, look, we want to give one of the, it's going to be really hard to not give this conference a host spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see that happening. But I mean, I would love for that to happen. I feel like if we didn't host last year, I don't think we're going to host this year.
I mean, I agree, but there were other hosts that came out of this conference last year that were ahead of us. So
yeah,
if they look at it as, hey, we want to give a top 5 conference, I mean, you're probably right. We're probably not going to get one, but I do think we have more of a chance of getting one than people.
Well, too, and I think I tweeted about this earlier today. Like the SEC tournament has been crazy. Like you have all these teams. Like Vandy has moved up 7 spots. LSU has moved up 9 spots in the RPI, and so State's moved up 3 spots. So you have all these teams that are. Alabama is right there at 22. So you have all these teams that are just hovering around that 20 mark.
But if you look at their regular season record, like LSU, a lot of teams with that type of record don't even get in. LSU's probably going to get in the tournament now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But they're not going to get a host spot on winning
of
with
course.
13. They didn't even hit the 14 win spot in the regular season. So they're not going to get a host spot. You just got to look at who's there. Like number 1 through 9 in the RPI, I feel like is definitely going to host. It's what happens after those top 1 through 9.
You could sell me on it for sure. I mean, I'm with Jacob to a degree. Like I don't think it's just a formality that we're not hosting yet. I'm probably in the camp that I think will be a 2 seed. It makes a lot more sense, I guess, just based on where our RPI has been that I've been following. But I mean, look, man, they let a regional happen at Pete Taylor Park. We know what that looks like. There won't be a seat to be had in that place, and they'll be stacked up down the roost and the slab and the 16-ounce lounge and everywhere else in between. So I don't know.
They look at that too. They look at how much money they can make off the team that's going to host. You know what I mean? Like it's not all just about your RPI seating and all that. It's like how much money is this team going to make us if we put them? They're going to sell out every game with 5,500 people there.
Right.
For sure.
We did have a good comment in from Jeff Taylor. He said that when we lost that game to Texas State 7-5, I think that killed our hosting chances. We'd be at 24 RPI now if it wasn't for that loss. So
I don't disagree with that. But
We ended last year at 21 and didn't get a host. So, and they basically told us if we won the conference tournament last year, we were pretty much a lock to host, and we still didn't. Granted, we did lose to App State in the tournament. They probably hurt us too last year, but.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn's AD was on the committee and made sure they got in over us. I wish McLean was already on the committee this year.
He won't be till next year, technically.
Yeah, next year. But do y'all listen to the 11.7 podcast? Do they do the mid-major rankings?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Well, so I posted something on their thing the other night. They actually responded to it, and I posted my spiel on there about why I thought what I just said, word for word almost. And they responded to that. And then the week before, they were completely saying a Sun Belt team wasn't going to host. And they basically word for word used my take. And I was like, hey man, at least give me a shout out, But they were saying the same. But they were saying the same thing. It was like, yeah, I mean, I can see a Sun Belt. I mean, it's going to be really hard not to give a top 5 conference a host. So that's what I'm hoping for. Do I think it's going to happen? If I had to bet on it, hell no. But
there's a few teams that will fall out of hosting, which is probably to open the door for state. Like Indiana State, if they don't win the tournament, they said they won't host now. They've pretty much been a lock for several weeks, and there's a few others, but they're saying State's still on the borderline, and they're at 19 right now, which we all know they'll probably host because they're the SEC. But if they're on the borderline at 19, we probably ain't got a shot at 29. So we'll see.
Speaking of that, I mean, it's in
Santa Barbara. I'm sorry, Santa Barbara clinched. So I mean, they're always, if there's a West team that they're going to give a regional to, they're going to give it out west.
Yeah.
So Oregon State will host out there too, don't you think, Luke?
Yeah, I could see them doing that. I think Teddy
Aren't they top on RPI?
They are 16 right now.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Warren Nolan.
Yeah. Oregon State's 16.
What do you think about ECU? I mean, they slipped lately. I mean, they got swept by Tulane. They lost today to Wichita State. I mean, they could be eliminated tomorrow. They're in the losers bracket. I mean, I know they've kind of slipped lately. I know they have the number 2, RPI, like non-conference, and their RPI is kind of strong, overall. But I mean, if they lose and go 1-2 in the AAC, which isn't a super strong baseball conference, they could potentially slip out of host contention, right? Don't you think?
Well, they're in 17. The American, man, is way down. I mean, it's below the Coastal Athletic. It's below Conference USA. And I think with ECU, I'm looking at Warren Nolan right now. 30 of their 41 wins are against Quad 3 and Quad 4.
Exactly.
What is their Quad 1 record? I have it.
5-2.
Yeah.
6
they
and
have
7
a winning
in
record,
Quad
but
2.
I think we're 8-8 in Quad 1 right now. So I mean, even though it's a 500, it's still a lot more. It is 3 more wins.
I mean, we're 18-12 against Quad 1 and Quad 2. ECU is 11-13 against Quad 1 and Quad 2.
Yeah, I think if they lose, I think they slip out of host contention. I'm going to be honest. Well, not honest, but just my opinion.
What's bad about Coastal going out? I mean, I'm glad we beat them. But, I mean, Sunbelt, we were talking at possibly 5 teams projections, and now there may be only 3 that get in. I mean, let's be honest. Where's Louisiana in this?
They're done. They're done.
You don't think they're going to make it?
Oh, they're going to make
No,
the
they'll make
tournament. No, they're going to make the tournament. They just have no chance to host. I thought we were talking about hosting.
No. I'm just talking about what I'm getting at is James Madison is at 45, Louisiana is at 39, Coastal is at 36, Troy dropped to 53. So you're going to have a 38 minus James Madison. You may have a 38 to 39 win Sunbelt team that may not get in.
I think that there's going to be 4 Sunbelt hosts. I mean, not hosts. 4 Sunbelt teams get in, unless like James Madison wins it and sneaks in, and then I think that we could possibly get 5. That Sunbelt could possibly get 5.
How does Troy get in though at 53?
I forgot their RPI did drop outside the top 50 just now. They were like 4? They coming into the tournament. They were in the low 40s. I thought.
We'll say 3 teams, maybe 4, and the 4th is going to depend on James Madison. The thing about Coastal is I listened to D1 talk about it several weeks ago. They didn't even mention the fact that Troy or any of them beat Coastal. They just kept saying RPI. Even though they got 7th in our conference and all that, they did go 1 and 2 now, but still sitting at 36. Coach on the way out, politics and all that. For some reason, I just think, and my gut's just they're going to get in over Troy at 53. I think James Madison will have to make a run on the other side to get in, and that's the only way we get 4. And it all depends on stolen bids. I think us and Lafayette are locks.
Troy still has an opportunity to boost their.
Yeah, they do, but the Eags are in the West.
It's not
happening, so I ain't worried about the Troy.
Very true. Well, they got App State tomorrow.
They'd have to beat. I think Troy has to beat. App's RPI is not very good, and then they'd have to beat us at least once or maybe twice to shoot the RPI up. And I mean, they still may get in, but stolen bids and stuff, it gets tricky, man. And they're going to pick
They have to beat App State.
SEC or Sunbelt. They're going to freaking pick the SEC every freaking time. So.
Oh yeah, but they have to beat App State. I mean, that's not even. Yeah, they have to beat them to have a chance. Now their RPI. I didn't realize their RPI dropped to 53 after that.
Teddy K earlier today. This is before our win. He has Troy on his first 4 out. He has James Madison on his last 4 in. So Coastal is a 3 seed at Greenville. We are the 2 seed in Tallahassee with Florida and Stetson. The other teams, obviously, Florida State. And then I don't know where he's got Louisiana. Oh, he's got Louisiana as the 2 in College Station, which makes sense.
Yeah, they won. Louisiana, ULL won the regular season title. They're in. There's no way to keep them out.
I just don't see how Coastal sneaks in. Aren't they like 9 and 13?
In the conference, they're really bad in the conference.
No, just over their last 20, 21 games.
Oh yeah, what happened to them? Like
they stopped playing away from home. I mean, I think
they actually started playing tough people.
Play like 20 straight games at home to start the year, or something.
They backloaded their schedule. They played the easy teams in the conference at the beginning, got that number way up, and then they actually started playing some teams in the Sun Belt.
I think they played a ton of home games to start the season.
Hell, so did ULL. They had a super easy schedule at the beginning, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, their schedule sucks. There's no way they're going to make it." But they ended up, winning a lot of games. Coastal didn't, obviously. So
I don't know. I'm glad I'm not on the committee.
I thought somebody from Coastal was on the committee. Was I wrong about that? Okay.
Yeah,
Coastal.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So Coastal, they started with JMU, then they played App, then they played ULM, ODU, and then they hit Georgia Southern, Louisiana, Troy, us, and Georgia State, and then they got Marshall. So I mean, yeah, to y'all's point, did they beat James Madison? Yeah, they beat James Madison 2 out of 3. But yeah, through there it got kind of a little light, and then they had to bow up like 3 weekends in a row.
They beat Lafayette to set themselves up.
As far as the committee goes, I don't know if y'all ever discussed this before, but give me your opinion on it. I hate how the committee works. It's like a bunch of guys that probably don't even watch most of the teams play. They're athletic directors. They're not baseball guys per se. Like, why aren't you putting people like Kendall Rogers and Mark Etheridge and people like that even like an 11.7 guy who like has a mid-major ranking out that follows all the teams and watches a lot of games. These guys go in, they're not watching games. They're not taking into consideration, certain losses and weather and, anything that could have happened on why that loss happened. I just don't, I've always been confused on how they do the committee. Like, it's just a bunch of dudes that probably have not seen half of these teams play that they're selecting.
I'll speak for hours. He sits in a booth next to me on the broadcast. He watches
Have
more college
y'all heard
baseball
about
than
the
I do.
KPI that is not going to be used this year, but is going to be used this year?
I don't
Is
know.
it that, like,
I
chess
feel like I'm at
ranking
work
thing?
right now.
Yeah, it basically ranks all the wins and losses. So like a positive 1.0 is a win with the best possible scenario. A negative 1.0 is the worst possible, which we as, people in the Sun Belt, we should be happy for that. They're not going to use it. This statement that they came out that basically says the KPI will not be used as a selection criteria. However, they plan to use this results-based metric as a resource. So this is where it does help. So say like Ole Miss goes in and gets skull drug 10-run 2 out of 3 series, but their RPI doesn't drop because of the SEC RPI bubble, where you can win 5 games in the SEC and lose the rest, and you're playing once they get to conference play, nobody's RPI really ever drops because they're all playing each other. It will be interesting going forward to see if they use this more, for the simple reason that the actual losses will be evaluated. It won't just be like who you lost to, it'll be how bad you lost to them.
Right.
And that helps us out.
I know we've had somebody requesting.
So I don't understand how they say it's not going to be used, but it's going to be a resource. Again, to y'all's point, what really goes on in the meeting.
Right. Yeah. Money talks. Let's see. Trying to add in. I think we have a UL supporter.
By the way, I looked it up. Coastal played their first 20 games at home.
Oh, wow. Pine Trees, go ahead.
That helps your offensive stats.
And your broadcaster's pocketbook.
Go ahead, Pine. You should be good to go. Unmute.
Did we lose Lowry?
No, I'm here. Y'all can't hear me now. Okay. Let's see. Pine Trees, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
How we doing?
I'm doing, not too good. Look, we watched a lot of Sunbelt baseball. We've seen a whole lot of just hard-nosed, great baseball players. Out of all the guys you've seen, which one do you think would make the best porn star?
Really? Okay, well, he's gone.
Is that a Lafayette fan?
It is.
That's why we call them ULL. Freaking losers.
Yep. Can't spell ULL without 2 L's.
Y'all know Owen? Owen 2, baby. That's what they are.
I knew that was gonna.
I set Bump up with that earlier, and he fell for it.
Yeah, it was great. I think we do have Bump on here, maybe.
Bump. He said he was going to play mini or putt with.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, him and Dickens were playing goofy golf earlier, or whatever you call it.
That's what they call it.
Who won that?
I know. I'm excited. I'm trying to get him in. Come on, Bump, join us.
Hope Chad played
I thought I saw
better.
Gabe in here earlier, Momo.
Let's see. Let me get us caught up on any kind of comments we've had. Yeah, this was in response to, I think, what we had earlier, our discussion. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting Monday for sure. Is that when it is? Is that right?
Mug shots again, probably.
Yep.
Yeah, down there.
There we go. Well, over
That's
there.
where it's gonna be at.
That's right. Speaking of
Jason, am I totally, or y'all, am I totally, or forget, did they release the sites like on late Sunday night and then the full bracket on Monday, or am I wrong on that?
I think they
I think you're
announced
right,
the
at
top
least in the
8
past.
seeds, don't they? The top 8 seeds get announced early, right?
I
What
think
would be
all 16 get dropped
all
on Sunday night. I'm
Ah,
pretty
okay.
positive. On Twitter or whatever. They do one at a time. I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right, Luke. I do think there's some kind of early release of some sort of some list that those teams know, and that I think they start doing that because of logistical purposes.
right. Cool. Well, we have been on for a little over an hour now. How about we take a short break, and then anybody else that wants to request get back in, because we're going to wrap this thing up, because I already did this till midnight last night. So we're going to shut it down. We will
Great to hang with y'all. I'm out.
All right, Luke.
We'll see
Appreciate
you
you. Hey, thanks for joining. 30-second
Yeah,
break.
guys.
We'll be back. All right. Good times. Let's see. Go ahead. Who was talking? Nobody? Cool. Let's see. I do have one more request. Jacob, I think he did get cut off. Let me get him back in. If he wanted to wrap up something. Go ahead, Jacob. Maybe. Unmute. All right, this has been lovely. Work with me here. Leggett, can you hear me? You can hear me on there.
Yeah, you're loud and clear, brother.
Okay, sweet.
Jacob looks like he's muted.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, there we go. I think my screen went blank in the middle of something I was asking y'all.
Okay, go ahead.
I was asking y'all how y'all think how the committee is structured. Like, it's a bunch of ADs who probably don't watch a lot of the other teams play. And I don't understand why they don't have people like they finally gave Kendall Rogers and those guys in D1 baseball the rankings. Why don't they bring them in on the committee? Like, the people who watch the games week in and week out, watched all the teams. Even one of the 11.7 guys who has the mid-major rankings that watch all the teams play, and they're not just coming in just basically SEC biased like they are, and just they don't take any consideration about certain losses, this team lost to this team, it was raining or the weather was like this, but it's just basically just straight RBI, straight. They're not. They've probably seen half of these teams played 0 times. So I just, why not give Kendall Rogers and those guys, a chance to help select these teams?
Bake, you want to take a shot at that?
Well, I mean,
Mark.
I don't necessarily disagree. I will say, and I was going to say this earlier, and Jeremy McClain watches a ton of baseball, and I mean a ton of it. And he watches it across not just our league. I'm talking across all leagues, and so I think I'll speak for him. I mean, I just know how prepared he is for our opponents. He knows as much about them as I do, and I don't know when he studies them other than just watching the games. But he'll be just an incredible representation of our university on that committee next year when he gets to begin that time and serve on that. And I mean, I will say, if you look around who have been on there in the past, they do tend to pick conference base or excuse me, college baseball minded schools. I mean, J.R. Teagues has been on there, right? Bill McGillis has been on there. A guy who, I think he was on the Buzzardry podcast this week talking about what makes up their mind and on that committee. And, I get the SEC bias, but they put a lot of SEC guys on there. And I mean, let's face it, they do college baseball well over there. And I'm not just talking from the product. I'm talking about atmosphere, investment in the facilities and, and now you're seeing a Southern Miss representative, and it's, a long time coming, but it's well-deserved for Jeremy. We deserve to be on there. I mean, what are we, 8th or 9th in attendance in the entire country? So I do think there's, a bit of emphasis in them picking these ADs that have, at least the awareness of what college baseball is and what it's growing to. And look, I think the creation of ESPN Plus has done nothing for this sport but make it explode in the access that people have and, and their ability to study it. And so, I get what you're saying, Jacob, where I think that, sure, maybe, Kendall Rogers would be fantastic. And I really like those guys at 11.7. The language in that room might pick up a little bit if you put some of them 11.7 guys in there. But, I mean, they pay attention, right? Listen, Jeremy's going to know the teams that he's having to voice his opinion on. He's not going to go in there and not know them if he's going to bat for them or to speak for their behalf. He's going to know them, right? And he's going to study them and watch them. And I can vouch for that. I mean, I looked over there one night. He was watching North Carolina and somebody else, right in the middle of our game while sitting in the visitor radio booth when there was no radio there. So he's going to know. He's going to watch. Watches way more of it than I do, for sure.
Do you know what the rules are as far as if they have to step out certain point? Are they all in there the whole time discussing everybody? Do you know any of that stuff?
I would think I'm unaware that they recuse themselves at all. I mean, my understanding when we got that regional host, 2 years ago, I mean, J.R. Teagues had a son on our roster and he was on that committee. And I've never been told that he had to step out of the room and, allow the rest of them to make the decision. I mean, it's again, fellas, their purpose is to raise a pile of money for the NC2A. Don't get it twisted. And that's a major factor.
I definitely feel like they've been doing better as far as our Teagues would never discredit that guy. Two of my best friends played baseball for him at PRC with Matt Reiser. I think Matt Reiser is on the committee or was on the committee, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, those guys, they know it. McLean, I have faith. I'm just maybe they're getting out of that old, the good old boy thing and getting the guys in there that know baseball, and hopefully they do.
And I don't know the term. I know the length of term I think is 3 or 4 years, but I don't know what term year the former Coastal AD is. But if you look at it, I don't know how many members are on the committee either, but I mean, you're going to have two major representatives, and an active AD and a former AD from the Sun Belt Conference in that committee. If that AD from Coastal is still on the committee when Jeremy comes on, I mean,
I think Jeremy's replacing him. I think.
Oh, okay. Well, then there goes that thought.
I think.
Maybe. Okay. So his term. I was thinking, right? I mean, you're getting some good representation there, and there's a lot of politicking that goes on too. Make no bones about it, man. I think if we have a case, I think Jeremy's certainly has enough clout and pull to go in there and campaign for us, and rightfully so. Number one, too, I think the history helps. I mean, it's why for so many years you used to watch LSU struggle in the regular season, get hot in the SEC tournament, and then they get rewarded with a host. Well, hell, they knew, in the past says they'll have 11,000 people there. So they're going to give them a host because they're going to have 11,000 people there. The same for the Golden Eagles now. We've got a track record of, regionals in the past, a super regional as well, that, those tickets were sold like hotcakes, right? That helped, completely.
Highest selling ticket in the Super Regionals last year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's, man, that. attendance and how many tickets they can sell is going to matter. I don't think it's the end all be all say all, because you got to have the RPI and you got to have the wins to count for the resume. But at the end of the day, if you're a moneymaker and you're up against a non-moneymaker, I promise you they're going with a moneymaker.
No doubt.
But let's discuss that for a second though. Like the fact that if we could have sold 10,000 tickets last year, we could have. When is that expansion of that down that left field line or something? And I actually have a little bit of, I'm not going to throw out names, a little bit of inside information on what's going on with those apartments and why those haven't been taken over, blah, 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 over behind the left field line, to why we haven't been able to expand down there. But it's got to happen. I mean, like I said, you host a conference tournament or a super regional or a regional at Southern Miss, you have 10,000 seats, they're going to sell.
Yep.
It might not sell out in the regular season like that, like an LSU or State or something. I would hope it would, or at least get more than we have now. But man, just if you could have sold 10,000 in that super regional last year, geez, it definitely would have happened.
I agree. Yeah, it's coming, man. I know Southern Miss faithful. I hear it. There's a lot of people that are ready for facilities, but it's been well documented, right? We don't get that check, or at least our check don't deposit quite like theirs does, and so it takes a little time. But everything I know within my relationship with Jeremy McClain is, if I had to describe him, he's calculated, and I just think he's got a plan and a formula. And when the time's right and the money's right, we're gonna pounce, and the facilities will never look back. But when that time is, unfortunately, I'm not privy to any of that. But I'm excited for it, just like everyone else. I have a 12-year-old in my house that's seen the drawings, and it's going to be awesome whenever that happens. But I have no clue when that is. But take a bet on it. If we had 10,000 seats, there'd have been 10,000 people in Hattiesburg, Mississippi last year, pulling for the Eags against the Orange.
No doubt.
Shout out to the 12-year-old. I've got a 12-year-old sitting right near me right now listening to this.
Bake, I think if we just put Scott on the committee, and then he could just put his hands on his hips and just stare at people, I think that would make a big difference.
He'd be hosting.
Yeah, he would give everybody in the room a cowboy hat, but
That's
being part of the committee.
Just give that.
40 would look at him and say,
Hattiesburg
first. Any other questions? Kid committee would say, we're good with that, 40. We're good.
No doubt.
But I will tell you, part of the reason on that left field side with those apartments behind, there is a certain reason why that hasn't happened yet. It is not money for the university. It is something else that will be taken care of in the near future, from what I've heard. So I can't really say anything on that, but it's really not money from what I've been told. It's access. So hopefully that will be taken care. That will just take care of itself in the near future.
We'll see.
Hey, one
Cool.
thing.
Well, go ahead, Phil.
I would say one thing. We're talking about hosts and stuff earlier and whatnot. We may not host, but if we get a good 2 seed and then somebody gets upset, we might can snag another super, depending on how it lines up again. I mean, we got it over Tennessee last year. Who knows if it lines up and somebody upsets on the other side too? There still may be a chance.
No doubt.
I just hope they don't send us to an SEC. I'd love to go somewhere like Florida State or like a Georgia Tech, like we went. I'm not saying Georgia Tech's in the host spot, but I just don't want to go to Starkville, man. I just don't want to.
Hey, speaking of, Florida State, I know I brought up that host, but there was a tornado that hit their field. I mean, I know it just took out the left field. I mean, I don't know how big of I don't know if that's, I haven't seen anything on it. I guess that happened a week ago. I mean, I don't know how big of a fix it is, but if they could potentially take that out of contention.
Yeah, they had it was like a circus tent type thing, but I think it was back behind right field, because left field was the scoreboard, that kind of short left field wall they have.
Oh, you're probably right.
It was closer to their football stadium, because their football stadium's kind of to the right if you're sitting in the stadium. So it was like a circus style, like a kind of a big top tent that was kind of folded up from that tornado. But I don't really know how much. I was wondering that too, because I saw that they.
I don't know. We'll bring in Boudreaux. He may know a little bit more.
I'm sure those guys have the money to get that fixed in a week.
Oh, I'm sure. Awesome. Well, I think we're nearing the end of this. At least I am, and I have all the power. So we're going to shut this thing down. Baker, I have thoroughly enjoyed you being on, and everybody that spoke with us tonight. Jacob, Steven, Momo, Luke, everybody that joined in. We appreciate you guys. And look forward to keep doing these. I hate Bump couldn't be on here tonight, but I know he is listening to us. So shout out Bump. He did message me. So I think we're going to shut things down. You guys got anything else?
Cool.
Let me tell you,
having me on, man. Like, oh, go ahead, dude. I'm sorry.
No, you good, Jacob. Yeah, I was just going to say, man, I love where the Eags are at. I think one of the two unsung heroes for this club that you're fixing to watch over the next 30 days blossom. Number one is Chandler Best. Number two is JB Middleton, man. That two-seamer's playing and running all over the place. And, man, I love what was, 3.5 weeks ago. I felt like all of a sudden, what was supposed to be the strength of this team all of a sudden looked very vulnerable. And you could call it the weakness of this team. And all of a sudden now, man, that pen looks right. Colby Allen's he's been nails all year, but he's really, really comfortable in the ninth inning. And then I've really loved Josh Ock in the way that he commands the mound and the mound presence. And I think Christian Ostrander, and this is what makes Christian Ostrander so good to me, he is molded and kind of held and just sort of plugged Ock in certain places and let him see some high leverage moments and then got him out of there. And, now here on this back end, you throw him out there to say, hey, look, I need you to close today so Colby's not throwing a back-to-back day. And, he goes and gets it done. And all of a sudden now you look at it and look at what we've got left in the tank. If you want to make a run and go win this thing and make your case for the best resume possible, the Eags are in great position. But I think more importantly, I absolutely love what he's done now with this pen. And I really think he's probably got a trick or two up his sleeve and what he's going to do with a third starter too going forward. And so, yeah, super, super, super interested to kind of watch how Oz is going to kind of, mold this staff through this, hopefully next, 4.5 weeks, I guess, is all that's really left of the total season. So, yeah, but be ready, man. If, the Middleton switch to the two-seamer is – he's been unhittable since he's been in there and making that change. So excited for it.
I'm just so happy for Best coming back from that injury too. I'm just happy for him. He started off kind of slow, but he's found it. And I sat by his parents at the Oxford Regional a couple years ago. Nice people. I'm pumped for him that he's found it.
Yeah, and you got to remember, man, coming off that Tommy John, everybody just it's so prevalent. It's so prevalent in the sport now, and just sport and baseball in general. Everybody's like, oh, well, he's going to come back from Tommy John and throw harder. Well, that may be the case, but he's still got to get back on that mound and pitch and get feel and command. And I think Oz was very intentful early in this season of not rushing Chandler too fast out there for a bulk of work. I think he was very methodical and making sure Chandler wasn't overused so that he could build and climb and escalate. And I don't know. I know his velo is not where it was in 2022, but his command of that slider and his ability to kind of spot it up for me is 22-esque. And so now, you got that piece coming back in there. And Chandler's a guy that you can bring him in to match up lefty on left, and he can get righties out, but he can also extend too. He can get you 3 to 6 outs. What he pitched tonight, 2 2/3, I think, is what he went tonight. So what's that? 8 outs is what he got you tonight. So almost 9. That's when you talk about roles on this team, and as you get into these regionals or you get into Sunday, look at what Justin Storm did a year ago in this Sun Belt Conference Championship for this club, right? I don't think he's going to ask Chandler to do that, but he might, and so that ability to extend is huge, huge.
He didn't even give up. He did walk 2, but he didn't even give up a hit the whole time he was in there today.
Right. 3 strikeouts, 2 2/3. No hits.
He did have trouble a little bit in the last 2. Georgia Southern just hit a 3-run bomb to go 3-2, by the way.
Oh, sweet.
Dang.
In the 4th.
I'm pulling for ODU, man. That's a good dude coaching. That's a good dude coaching him, man. That's Chris Finwood is is our kind of people, man. He's our kind of guy, and that's a club to me that's just sort of all of a sudden just kind of found their way. And late in the year, they're just playing their best baseball. I think I said this on a broadcast about 2 weeks ago. I felt like JMU was the same. I felt like they were catching the pack and playing their best baseball right now, and they are. Like they got man, their 2-hole hitter is as good of a hitter we have in the Sun Belt Conference in Trimble. So, yeah, those two teams to me seem to be kind of rising. I think JMU is going to steal one of these bids from a Coastal or a Troy. I don't know which one. I'm not smart enough to watch all that, but I think JMU's, maybe 1 or 2 more wins, they're in, and I think they're going to steal. I think they're going to steal a bid, and they're a team, man, that'll be real scary. Like they'll be a team that could get thrown in there as a 3 seed, and people go and do their research and realize the best player in that regional might be on the 3 seeds roster. Because I'm telling you, Trimble's a pro. Like he's going to be a pro.
I know we're about to go. We need to go. I need to go too. But who would y'all prefer to play on Sunday out of the people who are left?
Oh man,
probably ODU. I don't think they have as much.
Yeah.
ODU. I don't think they have as much.
I want to get Georgia Southern back, but because I feel like we were better than them and Georgia State. We just had bad weeks, but ODU probably is the weaker of the 3. Obviously, they're the weaker seed, but
I want to play whatever team's getting ready to go into the losers bracket and have to play tomorrow, and then make the run through Saturday and play them on Sunday. That's who I want to play. That's the team. The team that's going to use the most arms before we play them on Sunday. Sign me up for that, Phil.
No doubt. All right, well, before we get out of here, I got a little read to do. So this episode was brought to you by Buckshot's Grill and Bar, where they're always having a good time. Happy hour specials daily, and a limited time, they're bringing back some of their oldies but goodies. Check them out soon. Make sure you're there Monday for the selection show, because it is going to be the place with the team and where everybody's going to be watching. So check them out. Our good friends at Mugshots today in Hattiesburg, delivering craveable food and personalized hospitality to friends and family in a place obsessed with sports. Thank you for listening in today, and wherever day you might have listened, whatever platform you listened in on. Remember to follow me at P Lowry, Jason at the J Baker ERA, and Phil at Eagles Attack. Is that right? And you can follow Bump, I guess, too, at Bumper J Bailey. And hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you tell somebody to the top today. And as always, Southern Miss
to the top. Talk.
To the top.
Talk.
I could play